we go.
Recording. I wish I was recording, but instead I'm live on TV. Hey, look at this on the internet. You were out at PAX, and now you're sitting with Sean, and that's something you can talk about.
The music is back, everybody. He's here.
Yes.
It's Matt Amberg. Look at
I want
that.
to die.
He's not just a lifeless iPad anymore.
Nope.
He's an
Mildly-
iPad full of life.
Mildly tolerable iPad.
I legitimately can't tell
Wait.
if you've frozen now.
Swipe.
Okay.
Okay. Now he's
Good. Just want to make sure. Welcome back, everybody. It's Zero Hit Points. I'm Ryan Miller. You're here with like 3/4 of everybody, if it could be, maybe. But you had enough of Adam. So say hello to Sliptide. Should we call you by your full name?
Sean.
Sliptide T. Anderson.
His middle name is T.
Sorry, I talked over you, Matt.
No, I'm just trying to get the Twitch stuff up on my phone here, and just turning on the actual,
I've got it right here. Everything's fine.
Good, because I'm out of it. It's... Okay, who are you talking to?
How out of it are you? What have you been up to? It's been years and years and years.
Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter what I've been doing. Nothing I do matters, because I'm not at PAX. Tell me about PAX.
Do you want to go to bed?
No, I'm good. I'm awake.
It's like 10:30 there, right? So it's bedtime for old man Matt.
10:40.
Salty Amber.
It's over. I was supposed to be in bed like at 8:15. Okay. It's like it's going into a Tuesday. It's been a long weekend. Matlock tonight was not great.
Now I know you're lying.
So wait. So just for the full effect, you're home alone this week, right? I mean, your wife and kids
I am
are.
Macaulay Culkining my life.
Well.
In more ways than one.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Sweet.
24-hour party people version of Macaulay Culkin. I may have murdered somebody this weekend.
Yeah, you're more of a Rory Culkin, kind of. Like, depending... Not a good enough reference for anyone.
Yeah.
I could be Wallace, I guess. Was that Rory? I don't remember. How many Culkins are there?
Is this weird for you? When we thought of this idea, I didn't consider that you would just be looking at nobody the entire time. Like, you're just looking at an empty room.
He's looking literally at the camera.
Okay, to be fair, I'm looking at a camera, which works out for me because I'm so goddamn vain. And
I bet you think this cast is about you.
I know it is. I am very, 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 very certain of these things.
Oh, it's day 4 of PAX. You might have seen any of our other podcasts or episodes. It's day 4. It's over. It's the end of PAX.
PAX is gone.
Listen to our show. Listen to the last show. I think the last show was the best of all 3, personally.
Yeah, it was good. I listened to it today when I wasn't on it. It was fun.
If you had to rank the podcast, the PAX podcasts, what would it go? Would it go day 3, 2, 1, day 1, 2, 3?
For me, it would be day 4, day 2, day 3, day 1.
Okay, that's actually pretty sound. That's the traditional ranking. Like you ask most people, they'll stick with that one.
I'm gonna be a little.
Also, coincidentally, are the ones that I was attending. So.
I'm gonna be a little more needling here and say that the first about 20 seconds and the last about 40 seconds of every podcast this weekend have been the best.
They really fall apart.
Yeah,
kind of at the beginning.
Just the intro and the outro.
When the yammering begins.
No, he's right. Did you hear the music? We try to use new music every time we do kind of a special episode. And man, there's a folder that we all share called 0 HP Music, and every now and then I peek in there.
Some no talent ass clown throws just garbage.
And there's always something that's amazing, and I should probably do more checking with the owner before I throw it into a show, but I don't. Yeah. And it's fantastic. So yeah, enjoy that opening music. Let's play it again right now. Couldn't find the clip, I guess.
I was thinking
I'm
magic
listening
of
to
editing.
it.
But okay.
So we don't need to talk about PAX just right away. Let's luxuriate in the moment a little bit here. Take as much time as We can.
That really breaks the whole vision.
We know what
visual
Matt's been doing, yeah, and you're ruining the illusion. You're breaking the immersion.
Shit.
Sean, we don't get to talk to you that often, especially here on the show. I want to know what you've been up to, what you've been doing, what you've been playing maybe
Oh my
gosh. A little bit. You told me a really cool story. You don't have to tell that story, but...
Tell it. I didn't hear any stories.
I think I told you this one. This was, yeah, so what I've been playing a lot is I've been getting into Rainbow Six Siege. Overwatch has been kind of blah. I just haven't really dug the competitive player base.
You and Matt both.
Yeah, it's been okay. I mean, my wife's been playing it a lot, and it's been awesome to watch her play competitive, but I just can't get into it. So I went back to Battlefield 1 for a bit, and then I picked up Siege during the summer sale, and at Matt's encouragement. So I started picking it up, playing Terrorist Hunt, and that is quite the look.
I was just trying to do his reaction shots from the other.
It's totally frozen. It's amazing what he's doing there. Anyway, so yeah, we started playing. Matt and started playing Terrorist Hunt, just like a 2-man thing, and it feels kind of like a movie, which is great, because there's just 2 of us, and we're terrible at it, and it's fun to use all the gadgets and everything.
Terrible hunts.
Terrible.
Thank you.
Terrible Siege.
What were you waiting on that one? Just didn't want to...
Yeah.
Sitting on it. So I normally when I'm playing games, I'm either playing with one of you guys or somebody we know, or I'm by myself. And this is the story that you brought up. But I don't know. About 2 weeks ago, I was playing Terrorist Hunt, and one of many random invites I got from somebody playing, I decided, what the heck? I'll join their Xbox party. Why not? And right off the bat, I kind of regretted it because it was a couple of what sounded like 10-year-olds. And they were... You think we're lewd and disgusting off camera and make terrible jokes and all kinds of things. Yes, we are that way. But they're 10.
You think we're 10-year-olds. You should see these guys.
Actual 10-year-olds. Man, I forgot what it was like to be young because I probably said horrible things like they do. But
you did.
Yeah, so I'm in a group, and there's another guy in there, and he turns out to be 18, and he just was kind of doing the eye roll thing with me. But we did a terrorist hunt. It was horrible. We just failed miserably. And then I thought, what have I got to lose? They're going to do quick play. I hadn't really done a lot of quick play. So there's quick play in Rainbow Six Siege, but there's also a ranked mode. But they were just doing quick play. And during this match, I couldn't hear a thing. These kids were just talking the whole goddamn time. So, the game is really based around being able to hear what's going on, and be aware of your surroundings. So I can't hear anything, and it gets down to be, I think there's, two of our operators left, and they have like a team of 4, and one of our other teammates falls, and one of the shit-talking kids, he goes and just clears the other 4 players like it's nothing. Just totally owns them. And so I'm thinking, okay, either the kid, really got lucky or he's actually genuinely good. And no, it repeatedly. I mean, we did not lose a single match the whole night. I mean, these kids were actually really good. I was super impressed. And so it gets to be this one particular match that I'm really thinking about is there's this other kid on there, and he's got this really heavy Indian accent. And it at the beginning of the match, he's just repeatedly asking us to put barbed wire around the hostage. He's like, please put barbed wire around the hostage. Please put barbed wire around the hostage. He just kept repeating it, and we're like, dude, no, why? So apparently he did it, and another, or maybe one of his friends did it. And so we get to the end of this match, and or this round, and I'm the only one alive, and there's 3 other operators in the other team alive. And they're in the hostage room, and they don't know where I'm at, and I'm getting ready to go in, and I'm smoke, and so I throw in one of my smoke grenades, and I think I managed to damage one of them or something, but I'm ready to go in there and try to tear them up because I don't think they were expecting it. And then all of a sudden, the match ends and we win. I didn't do anything. Turns out this kid, he was Frost, and he throws down the trap mats that he has as a special ability around the hostage, and all the barbed wire on top of him. I guess a lot of newer players or inexperienced players don't see them. So you see the kill cam, And our entire party and me and this 18-year-old kid, we just totally burst out laughing. It's a riot. Because these 3 operators, 2 of them triggered the traps, and I guess the third one tried to, raise one of the guys up, but walked right into another trap. And they all died right around the hostage. Just, no problem. So it was yeah, so that kind of opened the game up for me even more. So I'm actually going to start playing it a lot more. And I think Matt's kind of interested too, so...
Yeah. So you guys have been playing
pretty consistently, playing some Terrorist Hunt to get used to the operators and all the different things you can do with them, and we're gonna start doing some quick play. I think.
Yeah. No, I like the game a lot.
Yeah,
I'm totally down to do quick play. I'm terrible, so I can't be any worse than those idiot kids that ran into barbed wire explosions and frost bombs. So whatever.
Definitely not anywhere near as good as those kids I was playing with though, because man, wow. I was just blown away.
Nobody is. And let me remind you, kids are the worst.
They are.
In every respect. No matter what they're doing.
And it finally, I think Ryan put it best, is I'm on the other side of the tunnel now. Because the first, when I was letting them talk and everything when they invited me, and I said something, and the first thing that one of these kids says is like, "What, are you some kind of pedophile? Man, you're old." And just like, oh, that's...
And you said, I absolutely am not, but where do you live?
Well, for future reference, what you should always say back is, why? Are you guys pretty sexy? But,
are you in the market for somebody, or...
No, but what are you wearing? I mean, I could be convinced.
I am not, but I am willing to learn.
Oh, man.
Matt, have you been playing anything that you want to talk about?
I don't want to talk about anything.
No, okay. Just I thought I'd again try to trick you there after the fact. Okay.
No,
so
Rainbow Six.
I did do one more day of PAX. Can I tell you two about it real quick?
Please, God, do. Hurry, fast.
So, if you both...
By the way, John Patrick Lowry, my friend.
Yes.
His name.
That's
his name.
What did I call him?
Well, you called him the Sniper, which was not wrong, but his name is John Patrick Lowry. That's Ellen McLean's husband.
When we were talking, I just call him Snipes,
See, Lowry's seasoning salts as well?
Yes.
Snipe does a good job, man. I call him Piss Connoisseur because it's what he's throwing all around.
I was bummed, actually. There was a panel that I didn't go to. I wasn't that bummed, but it was a good day.
The voice actor one.
For Valve, it was called like Valve and Voices or something like that, and it had all the voice. You saw it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay, yeah, I didn't go to that.
It was one of those ones that if I had gone, I would have gone to that one.
One of the panels that you would have chosen, like maybe the panel. You're not the panel chooser usually in the group, so
not so much.
That would have been
that
the one.
Right.
Gotcha. Excuse me.
So tell me about your fourth day.
Okay, so
on the fourth day,
you heard me talk a little bit how I was doing the punch card for Bethesda.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up doing Doom VR. Did you hear me talk about Doom VR?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta tell you about Doom VR.
Very excited.
The one thing I didn't mention was that at one point I glory killed a Mancubus or Mancubus. Depending on what...
Mancubus. His last name is Cubus.
Part of the country you're from. So I glory killed him, and then, because the movement's a little bit different, you just stay in one spot till you hit a button. I was literally in the middle of his guts. Like, it was like rib cage all around me. Like, I'm looking around, and there's just like rib cage, and I can't see past it. I had to like move out. It was pretty crazy. That was
I would have tried to lick it.
I did, but I accidentally hit the guy that was running the booth. It wasn't like
just to get a little awkward. Pretty
so
salty.
I punched the rest of my card. I played some Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind. That MMO.
Yeah.
I did a quest on a PC. Okay. Good job.
Wow.
And then I went.
Did you have to use a keyboard and a mouse?
I did. You would have been proud of me, man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm blown away. Have you converted now?
No, yeah, I only play PC games now.
Now you're only into...
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. My CPMs are through the roof.
If you're getting DP'd, I think you're doing it wrong, but continue.
My DPMs are not as good.
Your DPMs?
But then I went to play Elder Scrolls Legends, which is you can get it on your mobile device.
I can't.
It's a collectible card game.
I definitely can't get that on my mobile device.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to report that Gwent was not a fluke. We talked about this when I was playing some of the Gwent beta, which you mentioned actually it came out before very soon when I left or something. I don't know. I think we'll be talking Gwent soon. But anyways,
Alright.
Since I've now played 2 collectible card games and I wasn't that into the Elder Scrolls Legends, I feel better about liking Gwent, you know? So that was good.
Sure.
Anyways, and then I waited in line for Dishonored Death of the Outsider.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is how much of a lightweight I've become. I went to Wolfenstein 2 and the wait was like 2 hours and I was like, no.
It's Monday, I don't wanna.
That pouty lip needs to go to the camera.
No,
that's
why it should.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were times. What's the most we waited in line for something, right? I asked Adam this the other day. It was longer than 2 hours, I'd say.
Let's see, I'm trying to think.
We're all mostly dead.
Yeah.
I should pick this up. So I go to Dishonored Death of the Outsider, and it's like an hour and a half wait. So I'm like, okay, I can do that. I did that, got my final punch, and then I go to spin the wheel of prizes at the Bethesda booth, and the lady's like, if you come back at 2, we're putting the console back on the wheel, because apparently they took it off. I don't know if somebody wanted it or what. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, I'll come back at 2. She's like, come back at 1:40. People are going to be lining up. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I come back at 1:40. There's a line around the booth, like for like over an hour wait to spin the wheel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Spin the wheel.
So
bust a deal, spin the wheel.
So,
come on, Mad Max.
So I went up to the girl again. I was like, where are you going to put the console? She showed me where she'd put it, and I said, okay, I'm just going to spin right now. So I spun right then, didn't get the console. Everything was fine. I got some pins or something like that. I can't remember. But,
well, that was as anticlimactic as expected.
Unless you consider all the time I
say. We don't win anything.
No, that's that. Yeah, 0. Yeah. But that was Bethesda, gone and done with at that point. And at that point, it was pretty much just me wandering around the floor, seeing what was quick to get into, seeing who I could talk to, whatever. And it ended up really cool, actually. I went to Dragon Ball FighterZ.
What a build-up.
I told you, we're half dead, all right? I've already sped it up as much as I can. Yeah. This is high energy. Man. Also, it's weird. I feel like I have to...
Whoa.
Now...
Stop kissing me.
Well, it's funny, because I know
he
can't look at you, so I know he's just, like, looking out, at the camera, and then I just keep looking at you, like, yeah, it's...
Yeah, okay. All right. I'm just going to talk to Sean from now on. So,
okay.
I ended up at Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Yeah.
Gosh dang it.
And how was it?
So, it's made by the guys who made... Of course I was going to forget this. Dang it. They made the fighting game that was based on an anime, I'm pretty sure, also.
Naruto.
No. Or maybe it wasn't. Actually, no, I don't think it was. Basically, the thing they had about it was that it had kind of an anime style to it. But it's kind of like the South Park thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's a game, but it's indistinguishable from the show at times, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this had the exact same thing going on for it. And I heard that the other game did too, which I'll remember at some point and we'll talk about it. But this had exactly that going on. Like, it looks like an episode happening in real time. Like, nice. And it's cool. Happening, like, insanely fast. Like, in fact, after playing Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and for us, like, every show forever talking about how it's just not doing it for us.
Not even a little bit.
This one is. This game has what Marvel vs. Capcom 3 had that I thought held it together. Right? Again, why am I looking at you? There's no...
You're trying to get that visual feedback from him. You're like, trying to look at his eyes. And he's like,
to everybody else, it looks like I am. So that's fine.
He's doing this. He's like, right?
But yeah, I mean... I did a bunch of combos on a dude who said he didn't know what he was doing, but beat me pretty soundly. It didn't be. I think I killed one or two of his guys.
Said he didn't know what he was doing, but totally kicked
yeah.
my ass.
He did. He looked at me. He's like, I didn't know what I was doing, and then he left like immediately.
It was.
Did he sound a little like a German tourist like that? Like I didn't know what I was doing.
No, that was my Asian accent actually.
Ooh.
Jesus.
Sorry.
The game is made by Arc System Works, who made Guilty Gear. And
Guilty Gear. Thank you.
Oh man, those games are fantastic.
Yeah, beautiful looking. This totally has that. Yeah, it's cool. And then I made my way over to Sea of Thieves, and didn't get in.
Good.
Well, the line wasn't that long, and I talked to the girl. I was like, "How long's the wait?" She's like, 2 hours, but the demo's 30 minutes, and I was like, "I don't know. Like, I don't know what. Like, if that. I don't know if it got better or worse after that." But
yeah,
I think
it's a hard one to fight.
Yeah, you got to kind of know how many demos are running, and
they had a big space, and I think it's probably smart that they're demoing that game for 30 minutes. Like, I don't know what vertical slice you would show of that thing,
Yeah.
But I was like, that's a long time, and I just left.
I don't wanna.
And I went across the way to Assassin's Creed Origins, which, if you remember, last time we talked about this, I was like, I think a trailer came out or something, I don't know, but I was like, I might be 50-50 on this now. Hey, Adam's in the chat. This is backwards. What? Matt's in the show, Adam's in the chat, and now video is completely frozen, says Adam. What a funny guy. He always says the weirdest stuff.
Well, it'll just be almost live,
Yeah, no, it's don't worry. Internet.
Brought to you by Comcast.
And the line for Assassin's Creed Origins wasn't maybe that bad either, but instead I watched it for 5 minutes, and whereas before we talked about Assassin's Creed Origin, and I said, I think I might be up to 50-50 on this. Like,
yeah, you're not, are you?
No, it went back down. I'm below 50 now. Yeah. It's just more Assassin's Creed. Like, it didn't... Like, the thing that game needs to do for me to want to buy it is it's gotta dig deep into the Egyptian stuff. Like, I need Egyptian gods, like, walking around. So I need, like weird fantastic... Which could be in there. It wouldn't be out of the ordinary for Assassin's Creed, but just watching it then, I realized that 90% of that game anyways is just going to be Assassin's Creed. And I'm like, that's...
All I want out of an Egyptian Assassin's Creed game is basically Stargate.
Okay, see, I thought you were going to go Fifth Element, but that's...
No, I want Stargate.
Okay. Does Ultron have to be in it?
No, but Kurt Russell does.
Okay.
Or MacGyver, either one.
Aha, okay, alright.
Yeah, it's the man.
I love referring to actors by their stage names.
Kurt Russell's his real name, and then MacGyver.
I know, that's what I'm saying, we mix it up. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. I mean... Kurt Russell,
the character,
I guess,
Kurt Russell, as portrayed by Kurt Russell.
I could have said Richard Dean Anderson, but that's a lot of extra words. MacGyver.
That's true.
Immediately who I'm talking
That's
about.
true. Also, okay, fair enough. He's got 3 names. If he didn't want this to happen, he would have, Richard Anderson. Even Richard Anderson. They're both of those are long.
Yeah.
Well, if I were him, I would
call
have
him Dick Anderson. Oh, Dick Dean.
Okay.
Because then
Dick
you're like it's like you're a professor of something. You're like in charge of something. I'm the Dick Dean.
I want
to start calling him Double D.
Now I want an episode of MacGyver where instead of the MacGyver title flies up, it just says Dick Dean. It flies up.
Dick Dean. Hey, do you remember what MacGyver's real name, first name was in the show?
Yeah. Mac.
Okay, cool.
Mac.
So, what else did you do?
What was his first name in the show?
Angus.
Angus? I'm sorry. Say that again.
Angus.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Not Anus. Not Anus MacGyver. Dick Dean was not Anus MacGyver.
So, and yet, oh man, that is an action hero though. Jeez.
Anus MacGyver.
And then I went to Far Cry 5, and the line for that was like really, really cool. So
define cool in the context of a line.
Yeah, like
what
Like,
does that
cool,
mean?
like-
it didn't take that long, and I waited
okay.
in it, and then it ended up in me playing the game. I played Far Cry 5.
And how was Far Cry 5? Do you hate Montana?
So no,
Oh.
that game, like we've gone back and forth on that game, and I've actually taken out some of our conversations about that game out of the podcast because they just
interesting.
sounded stupid at the end.
Well, I mean, I don't know why you're leaving anything in the podcast. You know, that would be a
Again,
different show,
first 30
but-
seconds, last 30 seconds.
Yeah, our podcast should just be an intro and an outro. I actually have said that before to Ryan. We should do an episode of just an intro, go and say hi, and then an outro, and that's it.
With the music, though, again, I think that's what Sean's pitching mostly here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Shameless plug.
I think playing that game has helped because it's been hard to wrap my head around kind of what that game could be. I mean, it's coming from Ubisoft. It's a Far Cry game. Like, for as much as those games have done, even story-wise and gameplay, it's more of a... I think they've nailed it instead of it being something transcendent or something like that.
Sure.
When they announced Far Cry 5, it's like, there was just something about it, and there was something to what could be done that, you know, made me want to have those stupid conversations that I delete afterwards because they made no sense. But having played it now, it's cementing it a little bit more. The fact that the guys I'm shooting, like in those games, you're always shooting terrorists, basically. And whenever you
Right.
hear somebody say terrorists, you're thinking, you know, like Ghost Recon Wildlands or something like that. You know, you're in Bolivia or something like that.
Right, it's the foreign country, it's
Yeah.
not the domestic. That's what it comes down to.
And
It's
Far
foreign,
Cry
not
5
domestic.
is domestic, yeah. So there was something about figuring out and seeing now that the terrorists I'm shooting were like it's arresting to be in the States, in the U.S. still shooting terrorists and thinking, oh, these guys are the terrorists. I don't know if that's going to land with anybody, of course. And it's a Far Cry game, and it's Ubisoft. It's like the perfect time in this country, you know, right now. Like the stuff that could be done with that game could be flat out amazing, I guess, basically is what I'm saying.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, it could broach some topics in a really interesting way.
And I don't know.
If it will, because it's a
Yeah.
Far Cry game.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
I mean,
Far Cry.
it can. The stories in those games are still like kind of crazy and fun. You know, they go after some good source material. You know, Far Cry 3 always had a Heart of Darkness type thing to it. And I didn't. Did you play Far Cry 4? You did get that, didn't you? No.
Maybe I did. I don't remember. Again, we've had this conversation, which has probably been edited out now that I'm finding out about this.
No. Yours, it's all.
The games.
I leave all
games
your
are
stuff in.
The games are good. It's just like they do kind of flow together. They're all very samey.
Right, which is part of
Yeah.
the exact thing I'm talking about with this. Like, it needs to not be that if it's going to be something more for Far Cry 5. You know.
Right, and I guess the question then is, you know, we know that story-wise it probably will be, but gameplay-wise, out of what you played, did it really feel different enough to be like, hey, I haven't played a Far Cry game since Blood Dragon. Maybe I should pick this up.
No, Far Cry 3, but
Far Cry.
Whatever.
the gameplay is not that different. Like I actually really like the Far Cry demos because they've always done this thing now for at least 2 years running, or 2 games running, where they give you 3 things to choose from in the demo, and this time it was the characters, and they've showed a little bit of those with the trailers that they've done. Adam now adds feed is borked. All right, stay in the chat. Any questions that you have, we'll answer. But so you could choose this time any 2 of the characters, or the dog was one of the characters. So I chose the dog.
Yeah, of course.
You're basically the character who has a dog, but the dog will go and chew some guys up for you and bring back their guns for you and stuff like that.
So would you say that you were Dog the Bounty Hunter?
No.
The dog didn't have a mullet?
No, but you could pet him. I petted him like
Dog's
twice.
name was...
Like every.
No, he didn't have a mullet, but you could pet him. That's equal.
Yeah, I petted him like every time he did something cool. I kept looking at the guy behind me too, the guy running the show, because every time the dog would do something, I would pet him again. And it's this animation where he comes up and you like ruffle his fur a bit, and then he goes back down. I'm like, yeah, he's a good dog. I keep petting him. I keep looking back at the guy. I mean, this is end of the 4th day. The dude was like, he was like leaning on the table like this, just not even.
This game is over.
and then my time was up, and I kept playing, and he didn't tell me to leave. So, like, I, like, took off my headphones. I was like, is my time up? He's like, yeah. So I just got up and left. But
like a carnival operator.
They are doing interesting things with that game. I think if the gameplay isn't changing so much, they are foregrounding those characters in a way. Like, I met the other characters. I met the guy that owns the airplane. I met the preacher. I met the bartender girl. So I think that's something they could use to deepen, the story or your interaction with the story. But the gameplay itself, yeah, it's Far Cry, Yep. But they're doing more. Like there could be some reason to hope still.
Fair enough.
So then I walked around. I went to the PlayStation booth because I had seen some stuff there that looked kind of cool, but it was all mostly by appointment. Which they did for PSVR last year, I think.
Yeah, and that was fun to deal with.
It wasn't hard to get into. We just had to think about it, which I hadn't been to the PlayStation side of stuff yet.
Again, the thinking about it at a convention like this is one of those things that I just...
Not by the 4th day.
No.
Or night. Matt in the chat says, I petted him. Thanks, Matt. If you have any other questions, feel free to let us know. We'll be here. Wait a second! So, I walk around the PlayStation spot, and I notice an open station for Detroit Become Human, the new David Cage game,
Yeah.
The guy that did... Is it still Quantic Dream? Is that still the name of the developer? Quantic?
I have no idea if that's still the name of where he's at.
But the guy who did Beyond Two Souls... And
Yeah. He's the guy who does all those games that are exactly the same, but different.
They're very story-focused. They're very focused on alternate control schemes and kind of making that part of the interactivity. They're divisive in a way that if you're not into kind of the narrative or really artsy aspect of games, you could find them boring or not terribly engaging.
Yeah, they're more quick time event type things where the story is the paramount, and what you're doing is you're affecting the story in a minute way.
Yeah,
minute way from a control standpoint,
right.
But a major way from a story standpoint.
Right,
the decisions you make,
yes,
are weighty decisions, but you don't have an interaction like in an FPS or some RPG.
Yeah, totally, yeah. And I totally fall way more on the narrative side of stuff, with the artsy side of stuff, right? Like they are essentially catering to me, and playing that thing was insane. And I've never played maybe something like I never played The Last of Us. I never played kind of these tentpole game narrative things, kind of, I guess.
Okay.
All right. But this thing, it's this. You're an android. You are. And this, I believe they've shown this. Like, this might have been part of their E3. This is a demo that they've brought around for a bit. But you are an android hostage negotiator that's been called into the scene of this other android holding the girl hostage, this little girl. So you get in there, you talk to the policeman who's not terribly enthused with you. Like there's a little bit of the android dislike. Like on the way in, the mother sees you and she's like, "No, don't let him anywhere near my girl." So there's,
which makes sense.
Yeah, a little bit of that going on. But then you get to process the scene or whatever, and you do it through all these control schemes where like it's really analog too. He likes to use the stick a lot, where you're pressing down to kneel down and then to the right to pick something up. And then to put it back, you're kind of, doing a Hadouken again, basically.
Doing the Hadouken.
Yeah. And you kind of do this throughout the level while different scenes are triggering when you get to different spots and kind of the situation is progressing. Like the android fires back at one point, and one of the guys dies. So I'm again processing the scene, finding all these different clues, piecing together what has happened to get them to where they're at, and I figure out that the android, I forget what was he had a name for him. He kept calling him the
Felix.
the broken android, the not perpetrator. I don't know. It was. I keep thinking pervert, but it wasn't that. It wasn't even close. But it was like in perverted the ways, not like in pervert.
Yeah. He's a cybernetic perversion.
Yeah, more like that.
Not a 35-year-old guy playing Rainbow Six with a bunch of 10-year-olds.
No, he's not that bad. No.
Popping smoke is something else.
But he figures out that guy figured out he was going to be replaced, so he was emotional, thought he was part of the family. He had already killed a couple people. Anyways, so I go through, I get all these clues, and meanwhile the music's playing, and like I said, the situation's ratcheting. It's like time is of the essence. So there's this thing, every time I study more of the scene, my probability of success goes up, and it shows you that, right? This is all done through the Android, well, it is third person actually too, so I don't know, whatever. It's all mixed together. Looks good. So my probability is going up the longer I spend, looking at all these clues. But then the more is happening, that it's becoming more
of a critical situation.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
That I get out there, and start actually talking to the guy. So finally, I get out there. I start talking with the guy. I go back and forth. I choose all the options that you see in movies most often. When he's like, I want a car, and I'll let her go when we get out of here. And I choose the options. It's like, that's not going to happen, pervert, or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Listen, pervert. We're not giving you anything to get away.
I didn't choose that option, but okay. And it's like my heart's racing. Like I'm seriously getting into this. Like I'm getting goosebumps. Like the music's rising and like all this stuff is happening, and I'm like way freaking into this. And he's got his gun to her head.
Because you're really into perverts.
Okay, all right. The game. This is me with the game, and I'm trying to get him to stand down, and then
But he just keeps standing on up.
For the very last option, I chose the wrong thing, which was it was like tell him the truth or something like that. And it was, you've killed people, they're going to have to destroy you or something like that. And that set him off. And he actually the androids have this thing on their head. And the guy, the bad android, when stuff's going bad, it's red. And then when it's going good, it's yellow. And then when you've talked him down, it was green. I got him all the way to green, or maybe it was blue, I don't know. But then after I said that to him, he went back to red. He's like, he puts the gun down.
0 to 100 on that.
Yeah, so it was great. He puts the gun down, and then he just kind of falls off the ledge with the girl, and then it goes into a QuickTime scene. And
Holy shit!
If I had pressed X, the prompt comes up to press X, and then I'm guessing I would have grabbed the girl and caught her before she fell with the android. Guess where the X button is on the PS4?
It's not the same spot.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
She died.
You killed her.
She died real bad, and I felt real bad. I wanted to turn to the guy running the booth and being like, she died. She didn't make it. I messed it up at the end. I thought it was an Xbox controller. It's not an Xbox controller.
You grabbed the guy by his goddamn...
No! But he wasn't there. Instead, I turn around and there's like 4 people waiting in line that just saw me kill that girl.
No,
I didn't say anything to them because I was embarrassed. I just kind of like shuffled off. Like, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. That's an okay game.
Secret's out now.
Again, if you were smart, you would have turned around. You would have said, "And that's how you play this game."
Yeah, just turn around and be like, "Yeah, I did it."
Objective complete.
See if you can kill her faster.
Oh my goodness.
That took forever, am I right?
Speed run, man. Yeah. Really.
I want to see somebody speed run that game.
Speedrun suicide.
Oh.
Dear Android friend, die, you hate yourself.
I'm probably going to buy that when it comes out.
Wow, really?
All
Yeah.
right.
No, it was... I mean...
I have been emotionally beaten and distraught since I played this game, and so I must purchase it.
It's done really well. Like, the direction is fantastic. Like, I don't think...
Yeah.
I think you hear people talk about David Cage, and I haven't played his other games, so I don't know how they hold up, how they are structured, on the whole or whatever. Gosh dang it. But just that little piece, like, it was super well directed. Like, there's little touches that you don't see in almost any game. Like, when I walk by stuff, my character will just kind of automatically, like, wipe his finger or, like, like hold his hand along the side of a wall or something like that. Like, little touches like that would be cool for any character in a game, but you're also an android. So you're thinking, like, why, like, what does he have? Like, and then the bad android obviously had feelings. So again, the subtitle of the game is Become Human. So he's obviously going to ask some of those questions, but just the touches, the non-verbal touches that he did to communicate that stuff, like,
Yeah.
really good, really well done. Like,
That's awesome.
I don't think David Cage is hype from that. The only thing I've ever played of his.
Fair enough.
There you go. And I played one more game. It was called Where the Water Tastes Like Wine.
Did you get drunk?
No.
The game sucks then.
I totally missed the mark.
By far.
So,
Did they even offer you a drink?
no. It was really
Well, this is just-
weird. Yeah, I don't know.
I hate everything about the company that made it, the person who invented it, the people at that booth, and I hope it gets burned down.
So the booth is the reason I played this thing, because it's
Even better.
It looked gorgeous. Like, it had this standee. It was backlit, and the artwork was just really cool. And the game itself just looked really weird. Like, anytime I walked by, I just saw this third-person game of a skeleton walking across a kind of a schoolhouse map of the United States. Like Johnny Appleseed-looking thing or something,
All right.
Yeah. So I listened to the guy talk about what the game is, and I did get to play it. It's kind of a visual novel. You are basically, when you're walking that map, and it's a map of the United States, it's Depression era, so he said 1930s, and you're basically going around collecting stories. You're this skeleton with, like, a thing thrown over his shoulder, and you can even throw your thumb out while you're walking if you want.
Like the bindle, the stick and bindle
Yeah.
thing?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
And the movement's really slow. Like, you need to be... I mean, this is early. I don't know how much of this is going to change, but, like, it's slow. Like, the reason that game would take a long time is because you are literally just kind of watching yourself slowly walk across stuff. You'll get to a thing that has a little icon on it. You'll talk to that thing, and it'll tell you a new story. They're really short snippets, and they're really cool, and some of them are really weird. Like, the developer used the term magic realism? Magical realism?
All right.
One of those combinations.
Sounds very fake.
Yep. And some of the stories were like that. Like, they were so weird and kind of non sequitur that I can't even remember them. But I also asked him after the fact. I was like, "Are these actual, like, folktales from somewhere?" And he's like, "No, they're kind of take inspiration from some of that, but they're all original." But basically, you play poker against the dire wolf is his name, and he tells you to go, and you lose, and he tells you to go get some stories for him. So you go out collecting stories, and you can bring them back to him. It's just this really kind of abstract game. Yeah, it was a weird one.
I'm not picking up, like, what this is. I'm gonna have to look at it.
Yeah, it's hard to explain.
Very well.
It's semi-hard to play. Maybe not in a bad way. Yeah, weird one. But I'm glad I did at least wrapped it up. That was it. Then I went home. Or, well, here.
Yeah.
I went to Sean's home.
They made ramen.
Can I go now? Oh, man. Sean. Oh, can we talk about that? Sean took me to
I got to get the name right.
the best ramen I've ever had in my life. The best ramen I've ever had in my
You
life.
haven't had actual ramen.
Probably not, no.
Yeah, Kazuki Ramen and Izakaya. Kazuki
yeah,
Ramen
okay.
and Izakaya.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Official ramen house of the show. Have you been there?
I've never been to that. No, that place.
That's too bad. I'm not sure I can trust your opinion anymore.
Wow.
That's good. Don't ever trust my opinion. I've told you that. Never listen to me.
That's it. We did it. Do you have any more questions?
Yes.
Comments?
PAX is over.
I have one question and comment. Good night.
Good night. Thanks for hanging out. PAX 2017. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Adam. Nobody's watching this because it's probably frozen.
Yeah, apparently there's technical difficulties.
But it'll
Brought
all
to
be
you
up
by
on
Comcast.
YouTube later.
It'll be on YouTube later.
Hope it doesn't get you sued.
No. No,
People
it
would have to
won't.
watch the show for that to happen.
Go to zerohitpoints.com. Everything's up there. The PAX page should be full and complete and done. And just all the content will be there. I'll even put up the game stream we did whenever we did that a couple nights ago. Bye.